Have you ever wondered how much information is being hidden from you when it comes to health? It's hard to imagine that what should protect and heal us is often sabotaging us. Modern medicine, heavily influenced by the pharmaceutical industry, has become a game of interests, where the truth about health is frequently distorted. Doctors, treatments, overprescribed medications, what is really necessary, and what is just a big lie, told to keep you dependent on the system. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about health. What I'm about to reveal will shock you. These are 9 lies that modern medicine tells daily, which could be compromising your health and well-being. You will discover how healthcare misconceptions are leading millions of people to blindly trust ineffective treatments and ignore solutions that truly work. And yes, I will be criticized for speaking out about this, but the truth needs to be told. Imagine how your life would be if you knew exactly what works for your body, without relying on unnecessary medications and incorrect diagnoses. This isn't a distant dream. It's a reality that few have the courage to expose. And now you are about to uncover these secrets. Pay attention to every detail, because the revelations that follow may completely change how you see your health. You don't need a gallbladder. How many times have you heard someone say that the gallbladder is dispensable? Well, this is one of the great myths propagated in modern medicine. The truth is that without it, the body loses a crucial part of the digestive process. The gallbladder stores bile salts, substances that play a vital role in fat digestion. Without it, the body cannot concentrate bile properly, making digestion less efficient, especially when breaking down fats essential for health. Now imagine that you decide to remove your gallbladder without considering the long-term consequences. It might seem like nothing changed right away, but over months or years, you could start experiencing digestive discomfort, difficulties absorbing certain nutrients, and even metabolic imbalances. It's the kind of thing no one warns you about, but it makes all the difference in your quality of life. To minimize these effects, people who have had this surgery may need to adjust their diets and use specific digestive enzymes to compensate for the loss of the gallbladder. This is just the beginning. Just like the issue with the gallbladder, there are many other secrets that modern medicine does not fully disclose. Issues such as the real effects of certain medications and treatments are often minimized or distorted. And speaking of which, have you ever thought about the implications of overprescribed medications? Well, this is another point that deserves a lot of attention. Statins have minimal side effects. Statins are widely prescribed by doctors to control cholesterol, but what many don't tell you is that the side effects of these drugs can be devastating. The medical industry frequently downplays the impact of these substances, claiming that the benefits outweigh the risks. However, studies have shown that statins significantly increase the risk of type 2 diabetes and can even cause liver damage. Are you really being informed about all the dangers? Let's think practically. A person who starts taking statins may not notice the adverse effects right away. However, months later, they could experience extreme fatigue, muscle pain, and even the surprise of a new diabetes diagnosis. What was meant to be a solution becomes another problem. Could this be another one of the lies in healthcare? When we talk about overprescribed medications, statins are a perfect example. But this is just one of many secrets of the medical industry. How many other drugs are treated the same way? Alternative medicine, on the other hand, seeks less invasive solutions with fewer side effects. And speaking of that, have you noticed how the issue of salt in the diet is always a controversial topic? Well, that brings us directly to the next point. Hypertension is caused by too much salt in the diet. How many times have you been told to cut down on salt to control high blood pressure? This is one of the biggest misconceptions in healthcare. The problem isn't the salt itself, but the imbalance between sodium and potassium in your diet. While everyone is focused on reducing salt, few talk about increasing potassium intake, which is crucial for more effectively regulating blood pressure. The truth is, focusing only on sodium might lead you to ignore what really matters. Imagine someone who drastically cuts salt from their diet, but continues to eat ultra-processed foods, which are poor in nutrients like potassium. The result? That person's blood pressure might actually worsen over time. The body needs balance, and potassium is key to keeping blood pressure levels in check. Adding foods like avocado, banana, spinach, and sweet potato to the diet can be a practical way to increase this essential mineral. This is just another example of how issues in the medical system often stem from a simplistic approach. They focus on an apparent villain, while the real solution lies elsewhere. Speaking of solutions, have you considered the impact of vitamin D on your health? Well, the next point might surprise you. This is just one example of how small shifts in perspective can have a big impact on your health. Want to dive deeper and see how this affects you? Take a look at the link I pinned in the comments. Small amounts of vitamin D resolve deficiency. Have you heard that taking 600 to 800 IU of vitamin D per day is enough? Well, this is yet another lie the medical industry pushes on us. The reality is quite different. If your vitamin D levels are low, that amount won't be nearly sufficient to restore balance. In fact, most people need much higher doses, up to 10,000 IU daily, depending on the degree of deficiency. This becomes even more important considering the crucial role vitamin D plays in the immune system, bone health, and even in managing chronic diseases. Imagine a person who spends months taking the standard doses of vitamin D, believing they are taking care of their health. However, when they get retested, they find their levels are still deficient. What no one explained is that, in many parts of the world, especially where sun exposure is limited, the body simply cannot produce the necessary amount of vitamin D with those small doses. For those living in large cities or spending a lot of time indoors, proper supplementation becomes essential. Modern medicine fails to clearly inform people about this, keeping them stuck with ineffective doses. And speaking of medical failures, the controversy surrounding red meat and its supposed link to cancer is also a topic full of controversies that we'll explore now. Red meat causes cancer. If you've heard that eating red meat is almost a death sentence, know that this is just another myth propagated by the medical industry. What they don't mention is that red meat, especially from grass-fed animals, is one of the most nutritious foods you can consume. Rich in high-quality proteins, it contains a variety of vital nutrients, such as B vitamins, iron, zinc, and even antioxidants like coenzyme Q10, which are essential for cellular health and body function. Let's think practically. You eliminate red meat out of fear of developing cancer and replace it with processed foods and fake meats, thinking you're doing your body a favor. But what happens? Often, these substitutes are full of ultra-processed ingredients, chemical additives, and dangerous vegetable oils. In the long run, the lack of nutrients found in red meat can lead to nutritional deficiencies and even weaken the immune system. The real threat isn't red meat itself, but unbalanced eating habits. This is yet another misconception in healthcare that modern medicine insists on perpetuating. And the next, well, it will challenge one of the oldest beliefs about nutrition. Get ready, because the issue of saturated fats will surprise you. Avoid saturated fats. For decades, we have been bombarded with the idea that saturated fats are the great villains of health. But this is yet another lie from the medical industry. The truth is that the real enemy is the unsaturated fats found in vegetable oils and ultra-processed foods. These oils, like canola and soybean, are highly inflammatory and can cause serious metabolic problems, such as insulin resistance and heart disease. On the other hand, saturated fats, especially from natural sources like coconut oil and butter from grass-fed cows, can be incredibly beneficial. Think about how this information impacts your daily meals. Someone who has spent years avoiding butter, meat, and full-fat dairy, replacing them with margarines and refined oils, is consuming a shocking amount of processed fats that destabilize the body's balance. The result? Inflammation, weight gain, and, ironically, a higher risk of cardiovascular diseases. Meanwhile, saturated fat from whole foods helps provide stable energy and promotes brain health. Once again, what we see here are myths about healthcare that distort what truly matters. If your weight is something that worries you, maybe it's time to rethink what lies behind that symptom. And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next point. Your weight is causing your health problems. How many times have you heard that your weight is the main culprit behind your health issues? This is one of the big lies modern medicine perpetuates. In reality, weight is just a symptom, not the cause. The true problem, most of the time, lies in insulin resistance, a metabolic imbalance that causes the body to store fat and over time leads to diseases like type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and even cardiovascular problems. Blaming weight ignores the root of the problem. Imagine someone who spends their life trying to lose weight, jumping from diet to diet, always fighting against the scale. What this person really needs is to address their insulin resistance. Simple solutions, like reducing the intake of refined carbohydrates and sugars, can make all the difference. Foods like eggs, avocado, and grass-fed meats are powerful allies in this process. By focusing on the real cause, the person improves their overall health, and the weight naturally adjusts. It's fascinating how often we only look at the surface of problems. And speaking of that, there's a big myth about plant-based diets that needs to be debunked. Are you ready for this? Let's go. Plant-based diets are the best. There's a widely held belief that plant-based diets are always the best choice for health. However, many of the foods offered in these diets, especially ultra-processed ones like fake meats and vegan substitutes, are packed with additives and harmful ingredients. What the medical industry rarely mentions is that these products, while appearing to be a healthy alternative, can be rich in refined oils, sodium, and preservatives, which overload the body with inflammatory and low-nutrient substances. Let's imagine a person who decides to adopt a fully plant-based diet, but ends up consuming foods like industrialized vegan burgers, cereal bars, and artificially fortified plant milks. Instead of improving their health, they may be exposing themselves to a daily chemical cocktail that, in the long run, harms the immune system and metabolism. On the other hand, a balanced intake of quality animal foods, along with fresh vegetables, can offer far more benefits than ultra-processed vegan options. This is yet another clear example of how healthcare misconceptions can steer people off the right path. Now, when we talk about blood sugar, hypoglycemia is often misunderstood. Let's debunk this myth in the next point. Hypoglycemia is a complication of diabetes. When we talk about hypoglycemia, many believe this condition is just a consequence of diabetes, but the reality is quite different. Hypoglycemia occurs due to excess insulin in the body, not simply because blood sugar is low. Doctors often prescribe glucose pills or even recommend sweets to raise blood sugar, but this only treats the symptom, not the cause. The focus should be on correcting insulin levels to prevent the problem from recurring. Imagine how harmful it is for someone to follow this traditional medical recommendation. They live with spikes and crashes in blood sugar, consuming more and more glucose to fix the problem, while the real villain, excess insulin, remains unaddressed. A more effective approach would be to adjust the diet, eliminating foods that trigger insulin spikes, such as refined carbohydrates and processed sugars. By managing these factors, it's possible to stabilize blood sugar levels naturally and sustainably. This failure to address the root cause of conditions is yet another example of how modern medicine often focuses on band-aid solutions. But once you start understanding these hidden truths, you can take control of your health in a much more conscious and effective way. And this is just the beginning of a transformative journey. Concluding, now that you've uncovered the lies modern medicine tries to hide, it's time to reflect on what you've learned. Which of these myths directly impacts your life and health choices? Think about your routine, the food you consume, and the treatments you trust. Are you truly making informed decisions, or have you been swayed by misinformation? It's crucial that you start questioning what you're told and seek what truly works for your body. Change begins with awareness. By applying this knowledge, you can significantly transform your health. Try incorporating natural foods, reduce sugars and processed carbohydrates, and focus on a balanced diet that values what nature provides. How about starting a conversation with a nutritionist who shares these principles? The important thing is for you to take charge of your health and not let misinformation control your life. If you're interested in these topics and want to continue learning about how to transform your health, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We are just beginning this journey, and together we can uncover even more secrets that go beyond the surface. Are you ready to take the next step?